Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Welcome everybody to the Safina Society Nothing But Facts live stream, coming right out of the heart of New Brunswick, New Jersey, right down the road from Bob Wood, also known as Robert Wood Johnson Hospital. That's the landmark, Robert Wood Johnson Hospital, on the 3rd floor of the Dawah Center. Soup Kitchen's on the 1st floor, residents on the 2nd floor. And we are on the 3rd floor, and it's a cloudy day. This is the weather, the mood you expect from an autumn day in the East Coast, but it is exceptionally warm, right? Like, it is warm out. You could wear a t-shirt outside and you'd be fine, which is very strange because you start wondering if they're, are we totally losing winter or not? I personally grew up, and I still love all 4 seasons, right? December 21st comes around, winter, boom, right? So we can't have, I don't like this warmth in the autumn. It's messing stuff up. I also don't like them selling mangoes in December in the supermarket. So that stuff, there's a beauty in the way Allah created things, and Allah created things with seasons, okay? Seasons. There's beauty for lack of something. There is a wisdom in not having something. Like no mangoes, no pineapples in the winter, right? There's wisdom for that, right? Anyway, let's get to some news here. I want to begin with Subhi's 30 relatives. Subhi, he's from around here, okay? He's from North Jersey, if I'm not mistaken. He's always on the stream. He's always on Instagram. And I want to say, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. He just lost 30 relatives in Gaza, which goes back to the constant, non-stop evidence and proof, non-stop evidence and proof of atrocities happening to Palestinians. Let's ignore that and believe the fake, the no evidence claims of victimhood by Israel. Okay. So let's make dua for his relatives. May they all be shuhada, all of them. And they all will then, inshallah ta'ala, intercede for his family, inshallah, the entire family. How many people are touched by 30 deaths? 30 deaths in one shot. If you lost one family member today, it'd take you 30 months to recover. How do you lose 30 relatives in one shot? Like one day. A week, whatever it is. A day, a week, a month. You'd go crazy. Imagine you lose one relative a day for a month, you'd go crazy. 30 in one shot. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give all of this family, Subhi and his family, peace in their hearts. And most importantly, Jannat al-Firdaus for his family and Shafa'ah. I ask Allah subhanahu to likewise for all of those suffered and all of those who lost their loved ones in the area. Okay. I want to get a pro-Palestinian Jew on the live stream. Okay. Let's go to this Jewish lady. I want to get a rabbi. I've been watching a lot of rabbis these days, if you noticed. And I'm going to give you an update on, some of the takeaways that I got from watching rabbis on live on YouTube. I wanted to see what their perspective is. Like, what are they saying? What kind of things do they say in their long lectures, right? The stuff that nobody ever watches and nobody ever clips or gets because nobody watches the middle of the lecture except serious devotees, right? So I started watching these long lectures on speed, okay? Fast, like 1.25 speed, 1.5 speed. And I have some takeaways. But first, let's go to this activist. I don't know where she is. Is this Europe or is this the United States? I can't tell. We can probably tell from the police uniforms. All right, let's see this. Hit the volume button on the bottom right corner. No, in the stream.
Defend Palestinians in that way. So no, we're not a better, we're actually worse.
She's a Jewish woman saying we're worse.
The sign is not coming off.
She's wearing a sign. It says Nazi, what does it say? Nazi Israel?
The sign is not coming off because that is the truth.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
No, it's not coming off. And it doesn't need to be. Something is moving.
public and the common law have the right to
This is
protest, but that could incite hate towards a specific community.
That is not hate. That is behavior to protect the Israeli extermination of Gaza. And you know what is hate? Is to assume that Jews supporting it. That is hate. That is anti-Semitic for you to even imply that Jews support this Holocaust which is happening as we speak in Gaza.
At the moment, it is one I'm rescuing and second
There's a cop comes saying, I'm going to rescue you from this. That's a nice way to say I'm going to move you out.
Shame on you.
To protect
All right,
Jews.
so there you have it. There are some, always will be people who speak the truth. They also have the, what is it? Jews for Palestine? What is that organization called? Jews for Palestine. They're the ones who have huge marches. And they don't just have marches. They go in and they like occupy like a train station or the Congress or whatever. They make a big fuss about it. Now, within the Jewish world, okay, within the Jewish world, I listened to some Israeli rabbis that are now transplanted in New York. There's a huge divide that really is exactly as the Quran said, okay? Exactly as the Quran said. تَحْسَبُهُمْ جَمِيعًا, and in Warsh, جَمْعًا. You think they're one group. Do you think they're united? وَقُلُوبُهُمْ شَتَّى. Their voices, their hearts are far apart. بَأْسُهُمْ بَيْنَهُمْ شَدِيد. Preceded that ayah. Okay? Their harm that they do to one another is severe. They do a lot of harm to one another. The Jews, the rabbis, the religious ones view these lefty liberals, these left-wing liberals, okay, as the source of all the problems, okay? The source of all the problems. And some of them, the rabbis, I'm listening to them, it forced me to remember the fact people could be very pious, extremely pious, heart-touchingly pious, yet be misguided. So piety and misguidance, they do come together. They can, certain things can't come together. Like truthfulness and lying. They can't come together, right? Fire and water, just like fire and water cannot stay together in one bowl for long. It's either going to be all water or all fire, right? Eventually. So likewise, someone who is a liar and someone who is truthful, even that, someone could be 50-50 or 70-30. But it is possible for someone to be very pious and misguided. We have that in the Khawarij. Did not the Prophet ﷺ said, when you see their prayer, they will pray so well, so much, and they will fast so much, okay, that you will despise your piety next to them. Their piety will be at another level, right? I saw that amongst these rabbis. I'm genuinely being honest with you. Some of these rabbis truly have a piety. They love God and they're serving God. That's really genuine. And you could sometimes, like, I even felt it in my heart, like this. I was touched by some of the things they say about how they're preaching to their people. Be devoted to God, and they don't say God. They say Hashem. Could you look it up? Hashem. What exactly is that translate as? Okay. Hashem. But I was honestly touched by it. But that doesn't. But it's and that's why it makes me say this, because you don't follow someone because their piety touches your heart only. It also has to be correct guidance, right? I'm watching this clip, and he was talking about the liberals and how he's saying us Jews, we have to return to God. This October 7th is a punishment, is a wake up for all the sins that are committed. And we have to return to the Torah, follow the Torah properly, worship Allah ardently, pray with devotion. And it was honestly a genuinely beautiful segment of his speech. I shut it off, and was thinking about this. I prayed Salah, prayed Isha, and I came back turned it on again. The moment I turned it on, the rabbi went in on Sayyidah Maryam, on all JC, Jesus Sayyidina Isa, on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. First thing he said, these Arabs are 100% useless and they have nothing until Muhammad came with a fake book. I was like, subhanAllah, Allah is sending me a message. Allah is telling me, look, it's not just piety that people can be fooled by. You got to be on the right. You got to get things right. I cannot piously serve a concept that's wrong, right? Or a doctrine that's wrong. And I cannot tell you how many common people, beginners, they get fooled by this. They get fooled.
Now it says Hashem actually means the name.
The name. Oh, al-ism. That's what it means, al-ism. Yeah, because they can't say that. Okay. Turn this gentleman's mic off. We got Abdul Wahid here, and we got Ahmed Z here. Abdul Wahid, right?
No. Lamont.
Huh?
Lamont. Brothers actually call me Ali.
Ali. That's what it was. You introduced yourself at something before.
Yeah.
Ali Lamont, what, Hill?
Daves. That's
Davis?
my last-
Okay.
Daves.
So no relation to Mark Lamont Hill.
No.
Okay, so back to the point. How many people turn on something when they're like 15, 12, 13, 14, 15? There's piety there, and they follow it immediately, right? They don't realize that piety has to be matched with truth. What are the conditions of tawfiq in Islam? The word tawfiq means that God supports you lovingly, gives you success in dunya and akhirah. What are the preconditions of that? There's two. Al-ikhlas, sincerity, with tibaa sunnah, to be following the sunnah. You got to be doing things right. So I got a game plan, okay? I got a game plan against an opponent. My game plan, I follow it to the T, but it's the wrong game plan, right? It's the wrong game plan. So I'm going to come and play the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm going to play the run, right? The whole defense is meant to stop the run. The run's not what's going to harm me, right? Even if I did it 100% and I studied it and we're devoted to it and we're single-mindedly going to stop the run when playing the Chiefs, that's not what you do when you play the Chiefs. You cover the tight end and you cover the quarterback sneak and whatever have left, right? You cover, well, they used to have, what's his face that they used to have? Yeah, Hill. How did they get rid of him? They were so dangerous. Quarterback can sneak it. Travis Kelce will be slanting, he'll be cutting, he'll be blocking, he'll be doing everything. Then they got Tyreek Hill running down the field. Small player, but the fastest you'd ever seen. And the zigzagging all over the field. How do you beat these guys? Right? The last thing you have to worry about against the Kansas City Chiefs is the run. So you got the wrong game plan. You got things wrong. And that's what I noticed. Rabbi Yusuf Mizrahi, he is a very smart guy. He's very devoted to the Torah. There's no doubt about that. He is logical. He doesn't mince his words. But what I noticed about him, the true, genuine critique, his facts are limited. His facts outside of Jewish religion are very limited, and they're limited to what he was taught in Israel. He's born and raised in Israel. His dad is a hardcore diamond dealer. I guess his dad or his grandfather moved over to Israel from Eastern Europe. They're all mostly Eastern European. But his facts outside of that are very limited, and I say that with all due respect because, for example, his comment on the origins of Palestine. He said there was never a people here, right? And it was essentially the Romans who came up with the name Palestina. Okay, that's the Romans way back before Islam, even before the Prophet Isa bin Maryam. And then the liberals who are against Judaism revived it as a way to get back at the Jews, at the religious Jews. They revived it as a nation. But you know what? Where the proof that that's not correct is that in Islamic literature, the name Philistine comes up, right? You can go to, for example, almaktaba.org, which is a shamil, al-maktaba shamil that everyone uses for research. Just type in al-Filistini. It's a name that people have. People used it. And just because that's a Roman name doesn't mean between then and now, it was nothing. The land, Arabs always called it Asham. They always lived in Asham, etc. And so his ma'lumat, his facts, his actual information about things outside of that world, it's limited, right? To speak the honest truth. So that's a problem. When you close in a people and say, okay, listen, do not read any other books. Do not read any other thing. In fact, if you notice what Islam does, the exact opposite. It says that actually, after you've solidified your aqidah, then go out and seek. There's a precondition to go out and seek, right? When you've solidified your aqidah, when you've, you're solid in your deen and you know how to respond. It's almost like when you can walk and look both ways, go out and cross the street. But can you cross the street? Can you send someone out before they've walked and they know how to look both ways? You're killing them, right? You are guilty. So once the foundation is strong, the aqidah is strong, the Quran says, go and look in history. Go and read their books. Answer them. There's not going to be a single heretical question, philosophical question that comes to us except we answer it. We have to. It's fard kifaya on the ummah. It's fard kifaya upon the scholars of the ummah to answer every heretical question. All right? Then it becomes part of the correct. There are going to be many responses. The correct response, as determined and distinguished by ulama, is going to be part of Sunni doctrine. Be part of Sunni aqidah. Okay? So what we're going to do, what I was looking at was that it's very limited in that respect. Secondly, they have these drilled in beliefs about, their opponents. But this is where I really want to address this part, their belief about Ismail. Because their analysis of it is that all this is a historical play back to Ismail, Sayyidina Ismail. That they say Ishmael, they have a completely different story. Completely different. Like we're reading two different realities here. This is where you realize and believe and see that so much of the Quran, Quranic speech about prophets, is actually a correction of a Jewish tahrif, Jewish alterations. It's like, subhanAllah, at every turn when I read Jewish stories about prophets, at every turn, okay, everything said about a prophet in the Quran is a correction of what the Jews say. Okay. The first one, what is the first? Wait, before even Prophet Ismail, his uncle, who is Prophet Ismail's uncle? Isn't it Prophet Lut? Right? What do they say about Lot? They say that Lot looked very much like Abraham. He was as a cousin. They were cousins. Okay. Lot followed Abraham in rejecting the idol worship. They became so good, but they realized that if we both die, we're the only two monotheists on the earth. If we both die, there'll be no monotheism. So what we should do, we should split up. He said, which side do you want? Abraham said he was older, and he said to Lot, who was not a prophet, who's a regular man in their religion, okay, in their muharraf, altered version. He said, I'm gonna go to the Greenlands, right? You go to the mountains. That left Abraham to go to the mountains. So he went to the green part of Shem. And what was the green and beautiful part of Shem? Sodom, Gomorrah, and 3 other cities. 5 cities, little city-states that were all next to each other. These city-states were the most corrupt people on the earth at that time, okay? And they were homosexuals, okay? And they were everything, they did everything against God. They were worse than the pharaohs, worse than the idol worshippers. They were the worst of people. When he moved there, that was his first mistake because he moved with the people of sin. But because the grass was green there and there was plenty of ways to make money as a shepherd, he accepted it. He gets there and eventually he becomes very wise. And they know that he's related to the man who's the who's attacking all these false gods. They know that he's related to Abraham. So what do? Okay. They elevate him. Like, let's corrupt Abraham's cousin. And they bring him in and they corrupt him. Okay. And and to corrupt him, they make him very quickly become the judge. This is according to the Bible. They say, and Ismail sat at the gate of the city, right? And the gate of the city is where the courthouse was. So they made him a judge. He was the judge, and he started to go away from the truth, and he became just like them. He became permissive and allowed them to do all their corruption. So they don't even hold Prophet Lut to be somebody who was good. What does the Quran say? Quran says that Prophet Lut alayhi salam is a pious prophet. Prophet Lut is not anybody other than a pious Nabi. Okay? He's a pious prophet. And Allah saved him from all this. And he spent his whole life warning the people. So when you read the stories of the Quran, you may wonder, okay, you're just telling us something good. We didn't know. No, it's not just that. It's a correction. It's a correction of the alterations in the Bible. Even some of the Christians have alterations. Like what? Jesus was receiving guests. When Jesus received guests, he told Mary, his mother, Maryam, alayhi salam, was sitting there observing Jesus receive his guests. She's sitting there watching. Jesus looks at her and says, "Get up and get us some wine, woman." So what does Allah say in the Quran? وَبَرًّا بِوَالِدَتِهِ. He was good to his mother. That means he would never say such a thing. A line that someone put into the Bible, okay, that shows Jesus disrespecting his mother, okay, and the Quran has to fix it. Comes in and corrects it by saying he was good to his mother. Prophet Ismail alayhi salam, according to their version, was jealous and was essentially a child not born well. What does that mean? They say that Sarah felt bad for Abraham for not having a son, that she took her slave and said, all right, you have a child with her. All right, so he's daughter of a son of a slave. No. What is so they have to attack Hajar too, say to Hajar. What is the origin of Hajar? She's an Egyptian princess. She's one of the princesses of Egypt. She was not lowly because no prophet is born from a lowly woman. And prophets, Abraham, do not marry or cohabit or produce children with a lowly woman. So she was given then as a gift to the prophet Abraham. So she was not a lowly woman, although she entered the status of like being transferred as a gift, right? That was something they did in the old days, but that doesn't mean she was lowly. She was in fact one of the princes of Egypt. Princesses meaning from the elites. She was from the noble women of Egypt. And Prophet Ibrahim ended up having good relations with the Egyptian king and left and received this gift. Okay. And then very quickly onwards, in his youth, as a baby, was taken to Mecca. Why? To preserve the feelings of Sarah. Sarah, in our religion, is one of the most noble women on the earth. What's the proof of that in the Quran? الطيبون الطيبات. Good women, good men for good women, and good women for good men. Allah Ta'ala will not have a husband, wife, prophet, and a wife, and she's bad. He tells us. ضرب الله مثلا للذين كفروا امرأة نوح وامرأة لوط. Allah gave us an example in the Quran for the disbelievers, the wife of Lot and the wife of Noah. They were خانتاهما فخانتاهما. They betrayed their husbands. They were disbelievers. Okay, and what happened? Both of them were destroyed with their people. They didn't follow their husbands. All right. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, he had Sarah. She was so loyal to him. She was loyal to Allah. She was accepted all of the hardship, and she accepted the tribulation, okay, that Allah Ta'ala beset upon her for her whole life. And it was said she is from one of the most beautiful women. There's not a single person in these biblical stories that the Jews and Christians elevate that we denigrate. And in fact, it's always the opposite. We never say anything. All the mischief, they attribute mischief to Rebecca, to Jacob. Everyone's mischievous. Everyone's mischievous. Okay? We say that Allah Ta'ala has a wisdom in everything. And also, maximum, we will say, to preserve the feelings of a Sayyidah Sarah. How do you follow your husband, support your husband for 80 years? You want to bear him a son to have a nation. And yet, on the first year, a new person comes in and does it and brings him a child. Okay? It's very difficult. It's extremely difficult for anybody to handle. Not Allah Ta'ala blessed her with Ishaq. Okay? And there's no mischief in any of this. So then, way before that, Prophet Ismail is in Egypt. Goes to Mecca. In their version of it, Ismail is jealous of Isaac the moment he's born because he views Isaac as superior to him. He's born of a free woman and he was born of a slave woman. Okay? None of that was an issue in the first place. But then Ismail makes comments about Isaac, and all that he wants to do is destroy Isaac from the beginning. From the beginning, that's their version of it. Wait a second, Prophet Ibrahim didn't know how to raise a child? Think about this. The lawazim, I told you, the word lazim and lazim singular, lawazim plural, is what is the necessary entailment of this? What does it entail? Ismail is just so jealous, and he's saying bad things constantly about Isaac when he's born. What does that mean? It means Abraham doesn't know how to raise his kid. That's what it means. Astaghfirullah. That's what it means. Prophet Ibrahim, alayhi salam, before ever Ishaq was born, Ismail was in Mecca. Okay? To preserve both lineages. So that if something bad happened to one lineage, another lineage is there. What if the one went astray, the other is ready to go? What do you do when you have money? The fool says, let's put all of our money in one investment. No, that's not how you do things. You take one money, you put it in one investment. You put some money on the side somewhere far away, safe from that industry. So if all my money's in real estate and real estate collapses, I lose all my money. Stupidity. So you got some in real estate, you got some in gold, you got some in Bitcoin, you got some in other companies unrelated to these industries, right? That's what the smart person does. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did. Okay. So then Ismail is essentially, in their books, in their world, a wild beast, wal'iyadu billah, that's what they say, who all he wants, his entire life, is destruction of Isaac and all of Yitzhak's lineage. Wait a second, you guys, Yitzhak's lineage, you Jews, have been living in Morocco, in Syria, in Egypt. Nobody touched you. Name one Muslim pogrom. And I'll tell you why nobody touched you. Because we don't use riba. So you did not have a chance to anger us. That's why. Why did the Christians attack you all? The Christians, supposedly you're from the same nation and the same book. Why did they attack you, the pogroms of Eastern Europe? Look at the history of this. It's all about usury. The Christians were not allowed to have usury amongst themselves. But a guy is not really a religious Christian. He wants to start a business. He does find a bank. Who's that bank? Yitzhak. Yitzhak, okay, and Avram, they're all giving out money with usurious terms, with riba. All right? With usurious terms. Yaron, you're here. You could tell me if I'm transmitting anything false about the facts of the Bible here. Facts of the Bible. Yaron, he's here. Okay? And I'm a avid listener of your boy too. Rabbi Yitzhak Mizrahi. No, Yusuf Mizrahi. I watch his stuff. I listen to his. I need to know what's going on. Okay? Listen. They find out after about 70 years, the compound interest, a minister comes to the king and say, hey, king, we don't got no money anymore. Well, what do you mean we got no money? It's all with Yitzhak. Yitzhak and the compound interest, they got all the money. Now, I'm telling you, this is standard history. This is not me making stuff up. Of course, they're going to say, oh, it's all anti-Semitic lies. Okay, country to country to country to country, all right? They're saying this stuff, city to city to city to city, and they go and they remove them. They remove these people, take all the money back, cancel all this, and get out of our country, right? Okay? And some of them go so crazy that they kill them all. The Muslims had some discipline. They were common folk not to take riba. Okay? And as a result, there was never a situation in the Islamic lands where you had, all of a sudden, Fez. There's no money left in Fez. Where's the money? 60% of it's in the hands of Yitzhak. No. That never happened. That's why you didn't have pogroms. We also have a rule on how to govern Jews and Christians. The Christians and Jews do not have a rule. They don't have law on how to govern other nations. Well, the Jews do. You kill them. According to our resident Torah expert, Rabbi Yitzhak. Do you want me to pull up the clip?
He's saying good, maybe you'll see the light.
He loves Rabbi Yitzhak Mizrahi. He is the best of the rabbis, by the way, in New York. He is our resident educator on the Torah. If I had to, I'm picking. I need a somebody to go back to see what does the Torah really say. Don't give me nonsense. Ben Shapiro is covering it all up in icing. I don't think they approve of him, right? Ben Shapiro, he covers it all up. Who was Jesus? Oh, he was a rebel, and the Romans just killed him. Oh, just what are you talking about? You all hate him, and you hate Mary. That's your religion. That is your religion. He covers it up with icing for his Christian friends because half his company is Christians. The founders of his company is him and some Christian guys. So he has to cover that up. Lies upon lies. You want to get the truth, go to the guy who's isolated, who's never going to fear for his job. The Hasidic community in New York, that community that he's in, I don't know, where is it? Which part? Brooklyn, maybe. They totally agree with him, and they're funding him, and they're making sure that he has a job, right? So he says all these things. So I'm going to go with the guy who doesn't have to sugarcoat stuff to find out what is the actual truth of the Torah. Okay?
You want to unbox that thing?
What do we have to unbox?
It's actually relevant to...
This is relevant to... We have an unboxing situation here, folks. Okay? What is this? Who is it from first? Should I read who it's from?
It'll be on the thing.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. Intellectual Intifada by Sheikh Asrar Rashid. Ladies and gentlemen, get this book. Okay, get this book.
What's this Intifada mean?
Intifada is the name for... Yeah, revolution.
What does the note say?
The note is just, from Janshare. It's from Janshare. All right, dear Shadee and Omar, Dr. Shadee and Dr. Omar, do enjoy the read. Best wishes, smiley face. All right, we got Blueprint for Restoring the Khilafah. I'm all about that. And it's signed, too, by Sheikh Asrar Rashid. Sheikh Asrar and Sheikh Amin. Asrar Rashid and Sheikh Amin are the most widespread on the internet of the solid, rock-solid scholars in Aqidah, Asha'ira of our madhab. Listen. Huh? Yeah. Yaren. We do have these verses about the Jews. Allah subhanahu. Firstly, they weren't called Jews when they were believers. They were called Bani Israel because they were the righteous, believing descendants of Israel, who is Yaqub. Okay? Yaakov. Okay? Yaqub. But they broke the covenant. That's the problem. What was the covenant? Except the prophets. All right, many prophets were killed. Many prophets were rejected. But there's one final prophet that this is not acceptable for you to do, O Bani Israel, and that is the prophet Isa bin Maryam. Why? Because he's a messenger on top of that. He doesn't just come to remind you of your law, he comes with a new law. Okay? That new law is a continuation of the Old Testament, but it actually abrogates, it adjusts the law in certain matters. Prophet Isa could not be rejected, and as a result of that rejection, the covenant's broken. Okay, so Moses alayhi salam is saying, come to the promised land that you are deserved. You earned it. Okay? And I'm telling you, what the Quran says is the reason why Jews and Christians do receive some traces, some serenity in their hearts, is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah yudhkaru fi hasmullah. Okay? When he refers to synagogues and churches, in it is mentioned God's name, the name of Allah. And that's the reason why the name of Moses, the name of Isaac, the name of it, all of these blessed names bring blessings with them. And the dhikr as-salihin tanzilur rahmah, Hassan al-Basri's famous saying. Okay? So all of these names being mentioned is the reason why. You know what? Let's put it right here so that everybody can see it.
Special thanks to Jens here from Bradford.
Yes.
Boy.
Thank you to Jens here from Bradford. Let's put the book up there so people can read it and get it.
He visited us not too long.
Yeah, he came a while back. He's a doctor. He's a medical doctor, surgeon. All right. So Ismail, they're saying that Ismail, all he wants is destroy, and Arabs, all they want. Arabs had plenty of opportunity to finish off the Bani Israel that lived, the Yahud that lived amongst them. And they never did. Okay? We would have heard it because you're very loud when something bad happens to you. You amplify it for the world to know. Like, where is it in Morocco? Where is it in Egypt? Where is it in Syria? Where was it in Istanbul? In Turkey. They lived in Turkey during the Ottoman Empire. Where was it? It never happened. Because we have a law on how to govern you. The Jewish law on how to govern the pagan is what? Exterminate, 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 exterminate. Okay? Exterminate. All right. Rabbi Shapiru, can you get him on your show? He was on the Dean. Oh, but guess what? I'm going on to the Dean show. I'll tell you one right now. I'm going on the Dean show. Yeah. I've heard of the Dean show so much from when I was young.
You got invited?
Huh? Yeah, I got invited to the Dean show. I don't know if I was, they didn't want me to say it or they want me to say it, but I just said it. Here it is. I got the invitation, and it is for November
You realize you're different from the other Muslim clerics that they bring
13th.
over here.
Why? They're all Salafi?
Yeah.
November 13th.
They shows. I mean, they don't really overly concern themselves with the disputation among the theological schools and whatnot.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, they just by default.
Yeah, listen. Yeah, I don't mind somebody. The idea of being Salafi in itself as a theory is a beautiful thing. Let's go back to how they practice their religion. But the problem is that how do you interact with other Muslims, right? What's your interaction with other Muslims? And that's what Sheikh Abu Bakr recently, before he passed away, Habib Abu Bakr al-Adani, he said it's a beautiful concept, but you have to do it right. And anyway, anybody who is not going and making that kind of proponent of some of these major things that we hold to be heresies on the attributes of Allah, things like that, attacking different righteous people, etc. Then he could be as Salafi as he wants to be. I'm going to deal with him. I'm going to interact with him, as long as he's not a major proponent of these things. Okay, so Eddie from the Dean Show, right? He has served the Ummah like so loyally, so well, so consistently, right? So consistent. Like somebody go years without seeing his program, right? Then he's still at it. He's still going, right? He's consistent. And he's somebody that I've never seen a clip where he's the source, or his interview even is a source of fitna. That's one reason immediately when they sent me a message, I was like, yeah, I'll definitely come to you guys and go out to Chicago next Monday. November 13th is what? Next Monday, right? Oh, shoot, I hope I don't have... Shoot. That's what I should have checked. I hope I don't have medical appointments. Hold on. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yes, alhamdulillah, we good. November 13th, we're good. Alhamdulillah. Jewish Muslim? Ben Fisher, I am Muslim from Beni Israel, and there's nothing Jewish about me. Khalas. So he's not a Jewish Muslim.
Like
Ethnically, he's saying ethnic. You want to hear about the ethnicity? Here. This is not to hate, but this is for information. We are all becoming little minor experts in the world of Jews. They're going to rule the world soon, I'm telling you. No one is just stopping them from what they're going to do to Gaza. No one's stopping them.
I mean, they were the majority of the Hijab's followers.
Yeah. So get ready. This is going to be a couple more decades, maybe years, decades of this. So let's read this article by an Israeli author. What's the name of this author? Let's give you the name of the author first, because when you read an article first, you got to see the author first. He is an Israeli author by the name of Iran El-Hayek, lecturer in population, medical and evolutionary genomics, University of Sheffield. Okay? University of Sheffield. Okay? We got more food here. Ladies and gentlemen, what is this called? This is called tabbouleh. You know what they call it? Israeli salad. Come on, listen. You guys need to learn how to be winners. When you win the country, just let the conquered people have their salads and have their foods. You don't have to go now claim the salad too, right? Israeli salad. Okay. What else did they have? Hummus. Israel. Listen, you don't know how to win. That's why. It's been 4,000 years since you had a country. 2,000 years since you had a country. No offense to anybody here. When you win, let's say you're winning like 8-0, right? And let's say and the other team gets like a free shot. Let them score. You have to win with class, right? You guys won the country. You stole the country. The British gave you half of it. You stole the other half. That's the truth. Okay? Why don't you leave the people to have salad? Why do you got to now take over Israeli salad? You know what it makes me do? And it says like, you don't know how to win. Enough. Leave it. Khalas. You won the big thing. Let it go. Penn State a couple years ago, they were winning 63-0 in a football game. American football. 63-0. 63-0. Because sometimes the younger small colleges, they need a favor, right? Let us come to you and play you and be on your TV station. We'll get some recognition and we'll split the difference, right? Because we get half the ticket sales. That's how it works in sports. You split the ticket sales. Okay? So it's a favor. Penn State is doing this little college a favor. You go out there, you put your B team out there, your starters play for a quarter. The B team plays the rest of the bench warmers, get some playing time. Right? It's known in sports. They were 63-0. In the last play of the game, their team gets a field goal attempt. And what does the Penn State coach do? Right as he's about to kick it, he calls timeout. That's called icing the kicker. Man, you are a loser. You're 63-0. Let them score the field goal. Right? Hey, Israel, let them keep the salad. Why do you got to steal the salad? You stole the country. Why do you got to steal the salad called Israeli salad? Zatar, aish bizatar, Israeli pizza. Come on, people. Come on. Have some class in your victory. Have some basic, you don't want to piss people off too much. All right?
At least have a good name. Is it just Israeli this, Israeli that?
You don't even, where'd you get the name from, right? And these are, here. We have an oven downstairs. We could warm it up, but we're not going to because I don't want anyone to have to eat up some Shami food from a Shem. Okay. I have to give credit to Mizrahi. You know what he said? He said that You know, the Arabs, they gave us nothing to the world except falafel and hummus. Okay, at least he admitted that. At least he admitted that. So let's see what Iran al-Hayek says. Where do the Jewish people come from? A DNA study. Iran al-Hayek is an Israeli scholar, okay, of his field. He's not a rabbi. He's a scholar of genomics, whatever, DNA diagnostics. Okay. Anthropologists, historians, and theologists have studied this for millennia. Where do Jewish people come from? SubhanAllah. You need to study where you come from. We have Asanid. We have lineages. According to mythology, the Judeans descended from 3 patriarchs, Avram, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. They're buried in the cave of the patriarchs in Hebron, a Palestinian city and World Heritage Site located in southern West Bank, 19 miles south of Jerusalem. You know that religious Jews despise people like him. Religious Jews hold them as liberal enemies of God. These guys. To us, they're like, he's Israeli, right? So he's a source. To them, you have to understand, to the Hasidic, he's a leftist liberal enemy of God. Buried alongside them are said to be Adam and Eve and the 4 matriarchs, Sarah, Rebecca, and Leah. And okay, that's 3 matriarchs. I guess Eve is the 4th one. The cave has never been excavated, but on top of it is a relatively modern building, which Herod the Great built to honor his ancestors. For a more scientific take on the Jewish origin debate, recent DNA analysis of Ashkenazic Jews, okay, revealed that their maternal line is European. Isn't Judaism by the maternal line? So that's a big problem, okay? And I'm sure that the Hasidic rabbis are going to really say no to this. They're going to say, no, what the forefathers are more important than science. It has also been found that their DNA, the total DNA, has only 3% of Mediterranean ancestry. Namely, what composed today of Israel, Lebanon, and Syria, and Jordan. Only 3% comes from there. Well, that's like the 3% error. Like Ahmed here is from Shem. His parents are different from Shem. Okay? Palestine, Syria. But I'm sure you'll get 3% like something. 3% Mongol, 3% Chinese. Everyone's going to have a little sliver there, right? I'm sure they want your DNA test to look a bit creative when they send it back to you, right? You ever do this 24andMe or whatever it's called? 23andMe. Everyone comes back with some unique little thing here and there. I mean, I think Yasser Qadi was like 2% Jewish. Yeah, look, there's an interview with him, and they say you're actually from the same origin as Barbara Walters. Am I supposed to be pumped about that? Right? But anyway, it was like you're going to be 3% something, 2% something that you didn't expect. I got to throw that in there to make it interesting so you can tell your friends. That's how they're making the sales. It's completely dhanni, this whole thing. This is the part of the world Jewish people are said to have originally came from. How you're only 3% and your maternal line is fully European. In any event, let's read on. Okay. But 3% is a minuscule amount, similar to what modern Europeans as a whole shared with the Neanderthals. All right. So given genetic ancestry link is so low, Ashkenazi Jews' most recent ancestors must be from somewhere else. Okay? And they came from many different tribes. To understand why this is the case, we need to go back in time to look at where their other ancestors came from. Where did they come from? Iran, Persia. Modern day Iran, of course, Persia, during the 6th century. This is where most of the Jews were living at that time. The tolerance of the Persians encouraged the Jews to adopt Persian names, Persian words, traditions, and religious practices. Okay? And climb up the social ladder, gaining a monopoly on trade. He said it, not me. They also converted other people who are living along the Black Sea to their Jewish faith, and this helped expand a global network. Conversion to Judaism is a questionable thing. Some have accepted it, some have not. Okay? Among these converts were the Alans, Iranian nomadic pastoral people, the Greeks, the Slavs. Okay. Upon conversion, they translated the Old Testament into Greek, built synagogues, and continued expanding the Jewish trade network. So they basically saw, hey, there's a financial benefit to becoming Jewish, or genuinely they believed this is the way, right? These Jews adopted the name Ashkenaz, and the DNA of Ashkenazi Jews can be traced back to ancient Ashkenaz, which is an trade route intersection in eastern Turkey. So it was a cross area, and they have a little picture here where Ashkenaz is in current-day Turkey, southeast of the country of Georgia, northwest from Iran, okay, and north of Iraq. So it is a part of the what was Anatolia and is now Turkey, okay. We now know that at the time these Jews adopted the name Ashkenaz. They also acquired unique Asian mutations on their Y chromosome. This is where another important group of people in our story come into play, the Gok Turks. Okay, it's the Turks' fault after all this time. During the 6th century, these nomadic people were ruled by a Siberian Turkic tribe called Ashina, tribe that ruled the Turks. They were forced by the Chinese Tang Empire, who were in power in China at the time, to migrate west. Okay, so these Ashina are a Siberian Turkic tribe forced by China to move west towards the Black Sea. They were very organized. They had military skills. Okay. And they founded their own empire, the Khazar Khaganate Empire. All right. And they offered freedom of worship, and they didn't tax trade. And as a result of that, their numbers swelled and they grew very quickly. The Asian group of these DNA mutations are found in the Ashkenazi Jews. Okay. So there's some more Turkic DNA mixed in there, according to this article. All right. And they were from these Khazar clans, and they converted from shamanism to Judaism. Okay. This means that Ashina and the Khazar clans were absorbed by the Ashkenazi Jews. So now you have Persian, that's what he said earlier, right? And you have now Greek, all sorts of mix up, right? Converted into being Jews, which is very strange because generally Jews don't allow for conversion. It was also around this time that the Jewish elite adopted many Slavic customs. All right. And based on my previous research, I would suggest that Yiddish was developed as a secret language to assist traders of different nationalities. So you have traders of different nationalities, and they end up their language producing. And you know what other industries, for example, cooking. If you start working in the restaurant business, it's almost they develop their own language. It's very believable, this concept of developing your own language. So in cooking, Spanish, English, and French are like the chefs and the cooks in around the world, or around the country, let's say United States. So there is a language of the kitchen now. When you go to restaurants, back of the restaurant, there's a language there. All right. It's like a Spanglish type of thing. What happened next was that the Jewish empire began to collapse. By the 10th century, the Jews on the Black Sea were forced to migrate to Ukraine. So they went to Ukraine and they went to Italy. Yiddish became the lingua franca of these Ashkenazi Jews amongst one another. All right. And German words, Germany became one of the destinations, and hence German words were also absorbed in this. But the grammar is Slavic. All right. Global trade moved to the hands of the Italians, and many Jews moved there. It moved to the Dutch, Jews moved there. It moved to the British, Jews moved there. Okay. What this all shows is that by using modern genetic technology, it enables scientists to track the past of modern day people. A new appreciation for Jewish ancestry can be discovered. Okay. Really is going to bother the rabbis. It has meant a greater understanding of the journeys these people took to arrive in Europe. It has also allowed for increased knowledge as to the significant role of the Ashina and the Khazar clans, from which some of the real Jewish patriarchs actually came from. Okay, So that is essentially, all right, a summary of origin of Jews. All right. Okay, so they are or they aren't from the lineage of Yitzhak. Big deal. You could be from the lineage of Yitzhak and be misguided. Being from the lineage does not mean anything to us as Muslims, right? Oh, okay. Oh, so they are or they aren't from the... Who cares? It's your actions that mean anything. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Fatima, Sayyidah Fatima, who is we know is from the people of Jannah, but he's saying it for us to learn a lesson. He said, Fatima, come to, do deeds, do good deeds, because you come to me on the day of judgment. Lineage is not going to benefit if you don't have good deeds. But if you do have good deeds, lineage benefits. It's an added beauty, right? Having a good lineage is a gift, okay? But we're saying here that, so it's not like, all right, we're just going to read this because it's going to bother them and piss them off. It doesn't make a difference if you can trace a perfect lineage back to Isaac and Avram, okay? It doesn't make a difference to us because it's deeds that matter. Let's open it up to Q&A now. All right, Q&A. Open QA. And let's see what is being said here. Can you get Rabbi Shapiru on your show? Who is he? Can you look him up?
Yeah, I saw a clip. They had him on the Dean show.
Salman says Rabbi El-Hannan Beck was on Dilly's show. Are these the rabbis who are against the state of Israel or against the oppression of Israelis? Which one are they for or against? AJ's from Chicago, loves the stream. Okay. Was Sayyidina Isa sent to Bani Israel or to all people? He was sent to Bani Israel. Okay. When did the Fatra start? There have been 600 years between Prophet Isa and Prophet Muhammad, roughly 600 years. And the truth of the Tawheed that Sayyidina Isa brought had began to get corrupted. So there was actually no correct truth on the earth at that time. As a result of that, nobody's mukallaf. What is the aqeedah of Muslims when someone can't find the truth or there's no truth or no prophet? They go to Jannah right away. What's the proof of that? وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. That's the qat'i proof. What do you have to say? They get tested in the afterlife. That's an ahad hadith. That's an ahad hadith. Why is it rejected by most of the ulama? Because the Quran affirms.
That's ridiculous.
Huh?
You're referring to the hadith about the four that will protest?
The people who will be tested on the day of judgment. That is an opinion, but I'll tell you why it's weak. The hadith basically says that people will be tested on the day of judgment if they never received a prophet. Or they were mentally incapacitated or something like that. Senile when the messenger came, things like that. The proof of that, the reason they hold that against it is that the Quran itself states that the akhirah is not the abode of testing. This world is the abode of testing. And they don't take a ahad hadith over a Quranic verse in Aqidah. That's the Ash'ari Aqidah. If there's a clear-cut Quranic verse and there is a solitary chain hadith, that would go with the Quranic verse as the proof, not the solitary chain hadith. Yeah. Hamza 5106. Where do I get Intellectual Intifada? It's sold out in the. Yeah. Let's take a look at the chapters. This book is dedicated to our children, the lions of Gaza and Kashmir, the largest concentration camps on earth. Okay, let's just look at the chapterization here. Whenever you get a book, you look at the chapters first. Okay. Where are the list of chapters? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oh, there's only 2 chapters. A prologue and the actual Intifada, which is the whole book, essentially. It's a short book. It's less than 130 pages. Okay? In his first two books, Islam Ancestry and Navigating the End of Time, Asrar al-Rashid describes the obstacles to finding a pure worship of Allah, the ideologies, isms, and deceptions of the education, modern, the self-worshipping humanists. Okay? And that is the next step. The Khilafah needed to bring this into being. Okay? I was watching a Christian analysis of the events, and they were saying that they're against Israel because Jesus did not come with a physical kingdom. So he's going against what is this person saying, that I'm not addressing their question, or I am addressing? Assalamu alaikum. I apologize for not addressing you first with my question. Can you see what Georgie's question is? Who is the Messiah for the Jews? Muslims, evangelists agree with Jew if the Jew themselves. Okay, who are the Messiah for the Jewish, Christians, and Muslims? Well, the Messiah for the Jews was Prophet Jesus. They held him to be something very different than that. Why do evangelists agree with the Jews if the Jew themselves killed Jesus? Or it is said, and yes, I do hold that they were also believe, according to the evidence that we have, they were responsible for getting the Romans to chase after Jesus. In any event, we'll answer that. So that's the whole problem here. It doesn't make any sense. And I just put on my Twitter. Could you open up that Twitter post? Right? Open up that Twitter post that I put up of what the filthy and disgusting things that actual Orthodox Judaism holds about Prophet Jesus and his mother. So a Christian is saying he's against the state of Israel and Zionism, but for a different reason. That's why not everyone who shares the same cause with you has the same reason. He's against it because he says Jesus came with a spiritual kingdom, not a physical kingdom. So when Jesus is saying, build my kingdom, he's saying, build it in your hearts. He's not saying, go and create a kingdom, right? And so the evangelist in the Schofield Bible, has convinced the Christians, okay? Convinced the Christians to build Israel, and then Jesus would come down. He's a Christian, European Christian, was saying, no, Jesus meant a spiritual kingdom. What do we Muslims say? We say, no, it is both a spiritual kingdom and it is a physical kingdom. But when Allah speaks, he speaks in the plain language of the people who are listening, the Arabs at that time, okay? And it does involve, our religion does involve, okay, establishing a khilafah, establishing a land. And that's what that book is about. It does involve, you cannot establish the law. And by the way, without a kingdom. Secondly, or a political body. Secondly, you also have to save everybody. The number of people who are seekers in this world are very few. Very few people will bother to be interested in the truth about God. Very few people will be able to navigate through all the ideas and comments and sayings and things. So the concept of a state is to help that make the default the truth. So that just by being born here, your default is that you're a Muslim. Okay? At least you got the basic tawheed there available to you. Basics of morals. You want to go extra, that's on you. Okay? But that's the concept here. All right, let's, are you going to pull that tweet up? All right, let's listen to this tweet again. Yeah, just the video's enough. Because it's hard to read the text anyway. Abdul Hadi's upset. They done stole Knafeh too. What do they call it? Israeli string dessert? Okay. Do you know what? I was in Egypt one time. My aunt's sitting next to me. She gets up and her son takes her seat. She comes back into the room and she says to him, get up, Israel. So, you know, I really bothered all these people when I said that you should see the short, the YouTube short on the Safina Society channel. that talks about where I said that the right to defend yourself is a fallacy. It's a brilliant fallacy. It's a fallacy, though, for the simple reason that when you're the aggressor, you can't defend yourself if you're the aggressor. An aggressor, if I start laying into you with punches and you punch back, you're not an aggressor for punching back, right? So they went nuts because all these people, their basic premise here is that history started on October 7th. There's no history for it. So the premise here is we have to pretend that the Haganah, the state of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, they didn't sponsor or steal any land or any homes. We're going to have to pretend that that happened, right, in order to go against that. But in any event, let's get back to our the reason here why evangelicals are just, you have been duped. Look at the Orthodox belief on on Jesus and Mary. It's just terrible. This is, I guess this is Torah time, but This is our Torah time. This is Torah time for today. All right, but I mean, we're not putting some Chavanagila Yiddish jingles here because this is so bad what he's about to say. Go.
It's not dreams of all kinds of Mechalelei Shabbat that had a dream, all of us, a revelation. We saw what happened with the revelation of Maria. 2,000 years of suffering came to the world. Christian Inquisition, Spain, Portugal, Holocaust, pogroms, from a dream of a prostitute who cheated on her husband. That's it. From that, 2 billion people today follow this idol named JC. Why? One dream. A lot of dreams. There's people that live in illusion even when they're awake, not when they sleep. When they awake, they have dreams.
So you see here, how is that, how have they duped people? By the Schofield Bible. The summary of it, the Jews have been duped into, the Christians, evangelicals have been duped into thinking that what Jesus wants is to rebuild Israel. And that's why Glenn Beck, so many of the evangelicals, you should see, like their devotion now to establishing the state of Israel has become beyond like a religious zeal, beyond that. They've gone way beyond that. They've gone to a point that's worrisome. Like you worry for his intellect, these types of people. Clean hoodie, where can I get it? Smooth hoodie, where can I get it? Unfortunately, I asked for the maker of this hoodie to keep making them and selling them online, and they said, my house already looks like a sweatshop, right? Because they're making them in their home. Okay? So the answer is no, not going to happen. So, unfortunately, you need to go get a machine yourself, and it says occupied on the side, and it's got a nice gold Philistine on the map there. Okay? Who's here? Ammar. Ahlan wa sahlan. Tafaddal. Eddie from the Dean Show, he's a Hanafi Bosnian? Oh, I thought he was a white convert. Like Polish. I thought he was a Polish convert. Yeah. Okay. Can you get Andrew Tate on your show? You know, if I get him, I'm going to ask him all the questions that people don't want him, that want to ask him. Have you left off the prostitution business that you were running online? Okay. Have you, you know, all that sort of stuff I'll ask him, because that's what people, every time I'm with polite society, you can't mention Andrew Tate because his stuff is so out there. So I'd have to ask him that stuff. Okay. You once said we shouldn't be making a fuss if your food order was wrong at the restaurant. But what about if the dish is more expensive than the dish you ordered? It depends. If your wife is there, you don't want to look poor. Pay it. Okay? If your in-laws and your friends are all there, don't look poor. Bite the bullet. Don't come and say, oh, no, this dish I ordered this fish or this dish, not this dish. What's the difference? $7, $10, $15, $20, $30. Bite the bullet. Don't ever look poor. Say Allah will provide. In terms of subject being studied by students of knowledge nowadays, what should be incorporated to develop better imams? Ahl al-hilli wal-aqd. Ilm al-kalam, no doubt about it. And of course, you know, there's some people that just don't like calling it ilm al-kalam. But what I mean by that, by ilm al-kalam, is refutation. It's the refutation of false ideas and when people try to bring you internal contradictions. That's the issue. You have to know how to resolve those as much as possible. What is River of Jannah saying on Instagram? Go to that real quick. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah. I heard that name from my uncle. He mentioned Jason Subhanallah. Why does he keep scrolling like that? I hate when they does that. And my uncle is a 7-day evangelist, and I couldn't grasp his knowledge. Can you elaborate what the Christians say about it? Go up. What is she talking about? It must be.
I don't know. You were talking about.
What did I say? Yitzhak?
During Torah Time.
JC, not Jason. JC is Jesus Christ. That's what JC is. The only people who nicknamed their prophet. Unbelievable. You did that here. No, for sure, Madakia, you would be. No, Jenna Rivera. Oh, it's Jenna Rivera. I thought it was Jenna River. Jenna Rivera, it's JC. Not Jason, JC. Jesus Christ. That's what they call him. If a Muslim came and said MSA, what are we talking about MSA? Muhammad, son of Abdullah. Would he not be hit, right, and punished for that, and yu'addab, if not worse, in a Maliki world? I can tell you about the Maliki world. No, you will not. That's not going to go over. Someone come and nicknaming the Prophet like he's a.
It's a lie. Saddam is not even supposed to be abbreviated.
No, you should not abbreviate that because the Prophet talked about stinginess. Did not the Prophet ﷺ say, stingy is the one whose name I mentioned and he doesn't make salam on him? You got to email this long, but you can't say peace be upon him 4 words. And you have to put PBUH, S, exclamation point, or parentheses. But the email is this big. Sometimes it's a book. Wait a second. You're a publisher. Why are you lazy? You're not going to get the reward for that. Okay. Yesterday, says Fatima King, I was carrying Risala Qushariya and a friend asked, why am I carrying a Sufi book? I hesitated to tell them I'm a Sufi. Is there a problem here? Well, the Sufi book, you say, read the book, tell me what's wrong with it. That's the answer to your question. Read the book, tell me what's wrong with it. What's the Islamic perspective on how to react when we see our blessings in daily lives in light of so much suffering of the Hey, let's put this as a short, okay? This is a very important question. Here's a question from Sadim saying, Assalamu alaikum, what is the Islamic perspective on how we react and see all these blessings in our daily lives in light of so much suffering in the Ummah? Well, the Prophet ﷺ guided us to this. And he said that there are people who are tested by being patient. Like their test in life, their worship in life is to be patient. And sometimes you yourself, your worship at that moment is to be patient. When you're sick, Allah does not expect from you tahajjud. All right? When you're ill, Allah Ta'ala does not expect of you much dhikr and studying and knowledge. When you're poor, Allah does not expect from you sadaqah. What's expected of you when you are waged war against, when you are suffering, when you're poor, the worship appropriate to that person, Allah wants them to show patience. And that's how you show your iman. When you're blessed, okay, Allah says, وَأَمَا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. As for the blessings of your Lord, bring it out, live it. There is no guilt in Islam. I'll tell you what the guilt is, selfishness. When you're tested in life, when you're blessed in life, When you are blessed in life, the benefit, the worship expected of you is service. To put it simply, when you are blessed, you're expected to help others. Okay? You're expected now at this point to see who can I help? What can I do? That's what you are expected to do. All right? And so your guilt feeling should be guilt of selfishness. All right? Not the guilt that he's suffering and I'm not suffering. No. That's not how it's. He has his test from Allah Ta'ala and he has his appropriate response. We have our test from Allah and we have our appropriate response. You should feel that you are mudhnib or sinful if you're not responding properly. You have a lot of wealth, you are expected that you're to give your zakah. You're also, in general, as your worship should be sadaqah. And I'd imagine that a guy who's a multimillionaire comes up to us at the soup kitchen and said, how can I help? It's not, we don't need you to serve. We need you to write checks. I don't need a spoon in your hand and a plate in the other hand. No, I need a pen and a check. That's how you can help us. What's the value now you being a billionaire and you serving the salad? That's not the use. So everyone's ibadah is different and you have to only feel mudhnib or sinful or muqassir. Right? I'm deficient if you're not fulfilling the ibadah that's appropriate to you at that time. I'm going to cut that into a short or even a short video.
Element of like an aqidah element there as well.
Yes.
To believe that you have to know that Allah is not. It's like I think the assumption is Allah is not there for them, but Allah is here for me, and therefore there's where this idea of guilt comes.
That's a very important point. Do you think now that Allah has now having mercy on you and loving you, but not them? No, that's a mistake too. The tested and the blessed, both are in the gaze of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if they're reacting properly, meaning in the mercy, in the acceptance, in the love of Allah, if they're reacting properly to their situations. Okay? The tested don't ever imagine and weigh things on our scale. Some of these tested people, okay, it's because Allah wants to get to take them to levels of Jannah that their deeds could not attain. Right? Their deeds couldn't attain this. And on top of that, I'll show you what. I saw a video from a non-Muslim woman. And she said, hey, listen, Muslims, if you want to make every country Islamic in the world and spread Islam, you couldn't have done it better than this war on Gaza because of the reactions. I'm seeing mothers with their dead baby in her hand, and she prays Allah, this is Allah's will, and we will be patient with whatever Allah chooses for us. Because it's out of her hands, right? If it's in your hand, you have to do something. We're not Christian scientists. Christian scientists don't take medicine on purpose, right? Which is weird because why do you take food then, right? Isn't food the preempt of medicine, right? So why do you take food? So, but anyway, they're looking and they're tearing up, seeing these people say, this is what Allah has willed for us, a test from Allah, and they have paradise. That is a demonstration of faith. You don't need proofs after that. You demonstrated your yaqeen, and she's like teary-eyed and saying, this is why Islam's going to spread, because the video's like this. It's the truth. So they have their, it's not that Allah has, not favored them and favored you. That's a very Calvinist Christian way of viewing blessings. Blessing is not connected to God's material gifts.
And this is the definition. What is the definition of khayr here?
That's a good question. Al-Khayr in language is different from Al-Khayr in the sight of Allah. Al-Khayr, goodness in the language is like good food, good clothes, good homes, good families. But goodness in the sight of Allah is good reactions to whatever Allah gives you. The reaction that causes you to get your sins expunged or elevate your ranks. That's what's considered good. Then if a sickness made you turn back to Allah and rethink life, which happens many times, people lose their eyesight, they lose their legs. We ask Allah protection from all that, but they end up going back to Allah, right? We say that sickness was good for you. They themselves say it. This is the best thing that happened to me. That's one of the signs that it's the truth. It was one of the best things that happened to you because it made you come back to Allah. Another person could get the same sickness and he can go far from Allah. Then it was a punishment for him, right? It's a punishment. So Islam elevates human willpower. Your reaction is what dictates what's good and bad. So how do I know what's good and bad? Okay. Oh, I just got a raise. I got a new car, a new home, and I got married at the same time. Okay. So is this good or is Allah testing me? You choose. You choose by your reaction. If you react by saying, okay, Allah, this was all from you. Now I'm going to be grateful. How am I going to be grateful? What did Allah give you? He gave me knowledge. Share your knowledge. He gave another person wealth. Share your wealth. Okay. He gave another person free time. Go use your time in benefiting other people. So that's how you're going to be thankful, by recognizing it's from Allah, saying it's from Allah, and then using it to help other people, to help the ummah, to advance.
We got a quick yes. We could do a quick yes or no question. Can you recite the Da'at al-Khayrat for those who have passed?
Yes, you can do any amount of dua and dhikr and recitation of Quran, and we'll do what's called isal al-thawab. You basically you pray that Allah takes this reward and puts it in their scale. Okay, listen to this ayah from Surah An-Nahl, ayah number 71. Wallahu faddala ba'dukum ala ba'din fi rizq. Allah has given some of you rizq that He hasn't given to others. Okay, okay. فَمَا الَّذِينَ فُضِّلُوا بِرَادِّ رِزْقِهِمْ عَلَى مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُم. Those who are given a lot of rizq they cannot, whether you try or not, repel the rizq. Okay, عَلَى مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُم فَهُمْ فِيهِ سَوَاء. So that they would be equal. أَفَبِنِعْمَةِ اللَّهِ يَجْحَدُونَ. This is the response to communism and socialism and Marxism. Allah has given some people more wealth than others. Those who are given wealth and desire, no, we should be even. We should all be even. You will never attain that. Are you rejecting God's blessing? This is a trick of Iblis. This is the basis, fundamentals of socialism and Marxism. We should all be equal. I was laughing so hard at a lady who wrote that she operates socialist businesses. The CEO, the janitor, everybody gets the same cut, same salary, and same percentage of the business. Well, the guy was like, well, what business is it? No, we went out of business. We're not in business anymore. But there's a reason you're not in business anymore. That's not the right way to do things. Okay? SubhanAllah. Harun Mateen, very nice comment. Thank you very much, and may Allah bless you as well. Zayfiel, are the Sifat al Ma'ani 7? The Sifat al Ma'ani are the essential sifat, attributes of Allah that can be discerned by your intellect. That's the meaning of Sifat al Ma'ani. They're the attributes of Allah that can be discerned by it. For example, Allah's name cannot be discerned by your intellect. Think all you want on a mountain, you're never going to know His name is Allah. Right? Is He generous? He possesses great wealth, but is He going to be generous to me? Does He answer my prayers? Okay. Does He forgive my sins? Think all you want on the top of a mountain. Your whole life, you're never going to come to that conclusion. So some attributes of Allah are only learned by revelation. Other attributes of Allah can be learned by intellect. Your intellect can come to discern He exists. Your intellect can come to discern He has knowledge. When I look around at the world and everything is matching perfectly together, I know He's one. When every creation is different from each other, there's not a single pigeon that looks like another pigeon, zebra that looks like another zebra, human that looks like another human. Unless they took Botox, they end up all looking the same. And no offense to the sisters, sometimes they took Botox, maybe they didn't know or something. No offense, but don't do this. But look, it amazes me. When human beings mess around, you all look the same. You lost your individual beauty. You lost your individual looks, right? When humans to me, it's a sign from Allah. When human beings mess around, okay, and they try to do this, everyone look the same, all right? Go to the Turkish airport, okay? Go to the Turkish airport, you think, hold on a second, I just saw that woman here. Wait, I just saw that woman here. It's like Spider-Man. What's the Spider-Man called? Yeah. What's that movie they made with like 1,000 Spider-Mans, right? It's like, hold on, what's going on here? Who's who here? Don't do this. Yeah, there's like 10 different Spider-Mans. Don't do this. Don't do this. Okay? Islam is not against beautification, but it is against this. Okay? This alteration of, and you know what some fuqaha, some people say? They say, no, it's allowed because it's temporary. Is that the case, though? Is it truly temporary? But no. We say in Islam, it's not about temporary or not. All plastic surgery that is not returning what used to be there is haram. Or removing something that, by consensus of the people, is a deformity. For example, something that it's physically bothering you. Let's say you had something on your lip that's not a deformity, but you can't eat. You can remove it. It's bothering you. I can't eat. Or somebody who has a nose that's clogged. He can't breathe properly. The doctor says, no, his nose is clogged. You can fix that, even if he's born that way. Because why? Because it's harming him. Okay, it's something that he can't fulfill normal functions by. It's something, or a cleft palate, for example, as Bushra Begum is saying, something that we know babies are not born this way. This is a deformity. We're allowed to fix those. Okay, all right, we're allowed to fix those, but for no reason. No, we're not, because your nose is fine. Has a little bit of a turn to it.
What if the shape of the nose causes the person severe depression?
The shape of the nose causes the person severe depression. People are depressed by much less than that. Okay? Let's go back to the issue of, is this a deformity or not? Okay? We go to all of the people of society, is this a problem or not? Okay? Is this a genuine deformity? Say, yes, it's a genuine deformity. Okay, it's a genuinely too big that no one will ever marry this person. The pious Muslims agree it's a deformity. Or, for example, a fifth finger, a sixth finger, or something like that. Or a baldness counts. Baldness is a sickness. So that hair transplant, the Malikis don't allow you to use your own body, but the Shafi'is and the Hanbalis do. I don't know what the Hanafis say, but that means those people who get a hair transplant, as long as it's their body, they're allowed to use that, according to the fatwa that I've seen about that. That's zira'a, it's called. He takes his own hair, plucks it out from part of his head, and the doctor puts it into another part of his head. Malikiya don't allow for that, but in baldness, the Shafi'iyya, Hanabila, they do allow for that, because the Malikis hold you can't use your body. Okay, but even some of the Maliki muftis, they permitted it because it's almost like a skin graft, and they view that how are people created? With hair. How are people created? With straight teeth. Can you get braces? Of course you can get braces. Can you get glasses? Of course you get glasses. Hearing aids? Of course you can. So we have parameters for these things, and the parameter is for no reason. Somebody does this for no reason. That is just a matter of beautification. Why? Because it becomes an addiction, and I see it. What about a tummy tuck? Describe that exactly. How does that work exactly?
I think it's like removing fat from your stomach or something like that. It has to do with the stomach.
Yeah, possibly. Allahu A'lam. That possibly could be. Let's say somebody has just ate too much in a period of life and lost the weight and now has excessive of skin. Inshallah, I believe that's possible. You can, for sure, I'm sure there'll be fatwa permitting that, because at that point, you're fixing something that's genuinely a problem, okay? Or somebody who eats too much, they staple their stomach shut, okay? Allahu A'lam, but it could possibly be that's permitted too. You have to look into that. I can't say that's... Huh? Oh, tying the tubes. Tube tying. From having children, from having children expands. And Allahu A'lam, and inshallah, that's a possibility, because that's something that maybe is not the norm of life, and it became something that is now. You have to also think of marital relations too, right? So from that aspect, we have to see what the muftis say about that, but that doesn't seem to be as egregious and problematic as altering yourself for no reason. And I'm telling you, it's going to increase. The technology is getting faster and faster. It's going to be on every street corner. It's going to probably be, I'm thinking, in certain parts of the country that are wealthy, every 17-year-old girl gets a new nose.
Oh, no, that's already happening.
It's already. SubhanAllah. She saves up $6-7 grand and goes get a nose job. Right? So it's probably cheaper than that. Yeah.
Go to Turkey. Turkey's like the #1 medical tourism, like it's like the medical tourism hub of the world.
Yeah.
People from Europe come to like Turkey, like for like $2,000, maybe $3,000, you can get a rhinoplasty, a nose job.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it?
That's it.
It used to be only Hollywood stars get this stuff.
No, now it's like super, super accessible.
Okay. So, by the way, the nose jobs, I'm telling you, they don't do always a good job. Sometimes they look like they have an upturned nose. Which is not nice. You know the upturned nose? They always make fun of those. Yeah.
Sheikh Abubakar, he said about this like phenomenon where people just become so hyper obsessed with like these micro quote unquote deformities.
Yep.
He quoted this ayah, I can't remember it exactly. Wallahu khalaqakum wa yakhtar, or something along these lines.
يخلق ما يشاء ويختار.
Yakhluqu ma yasha wa yakhtar.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
yes,
It's true.
exactly.
He creates what he wishes, and by the way, there are other ways that you could beautify yourself. Physical fitness, for example, and there are spiritual ways you could beautify yourself and be satisfied. Much people may say, they may roll their eyes at this. Much worship will make you satisfied. Why? The more you worship Allah and develop your spiritual side, the easier you are to be happy on the outside. The less you worship Allah, the more you need to be happy. Okay? That's why the Salihin, many of the righteous, they genuinely don't understand what drives a person to do those things. Just by praying, fasting, being a regular, you're trying to be pious, trying to be devoted, taking time out of your day to be devoted to Allah, to recite Quran, to do these things, to make dua, to do dhikr. It makes a person not need certain things. Like, I couldn't understand somebody who's got 50 cars. Like, how does it make you happy? Isn't it a headache, right? Like, at some point you ask yourself, the reason is that if you don't elevate your spiritual side, you need a lot. Okay? Furthermore, Allah tells us in the Quran, تَلِينُ جُلُودُهُمْ, your skin becomes beautiful by much worship of Allah. Tahajjud puts light in your face. Okay? If a person doesn't feel themselves to be handsome or beautiful, firstly, there are asbab out there. There are things you may do. Dermatologists to remove acne and things like that. You may do all that stuff. But also try the spiritual methods. Try to pray tahajjud. Make wudu, pray tahajjud. For consistently, and you will feel about yourself very differently than before that. Okay? Okay. Lily Rose says, Gabor Mate's recent interview with his daughter was quite meaningful. Look him up. Who is Gabor Mate? Never heard of him. Is it allowed to decide not to make dua for shifa because you would prefer the reward of sabr? First of all, it's never obligatory to make dua about anything. That's the first thing we have to say. Okay? That's the first thing. All right? So the answer is no, it's not obligatory. But are we elevated for not making such a dua? I don't think so. Because Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib was seen moaning, calling out for Allah while sick. And his son said, "Oh father, you do this?" Imagine Sayyidina Ali and saying, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. He says, "You do this, father?" He said, "I will not try to become courageous, brave with Allah. If Allah sends me a test, I'm meant to be broken by it. So you should call out on Allah, if not for the sake of that you care about your sickness, but fulfill your role. You are now in the role of being broken by Allah. So be broken, act broken. Don't act tough with Allah. Rather, and take that dua is, the reward of the dua is not what you receive. The reward of the dua is the brokenness and turning to Allah. So that's how you should perceive your dua. So you're still going to make dua, but your perception of it can change.
Interestingly, in the Hanbali madhab,
Mm-hmm.
like going to seek medical care or medical attention,
Yep.
it's not even considered mustahab. This is jaiz.
In the seeking medical care in the four madhabs, Two hold it to be sunnah. Two hold it to be permitted. Believe it or not, just permitted. Why? Because where did the Prophet command it? Okay. And when he commanded it, did he command it as a sunnah or as a fard? Yep.
I think it was also with Abu Bakr
Mm-hmm.
when he was very sick.
Yep.
And he when they were calling a doctor for him, they asked him, "Do you want a doctor?" He said no.
Yeah. He refused to take a doctor when he was dying, and he said the real doctor is the one who made me sick. Why would I be against him? So that's a state. He's in a state at that point.
Prophetic medicine, correct?
Yeah, there are prophetic medicines too. Yeah. But what is not clear to the fuqaha, what is clear to the fuqaha is that the Prophet did not obligate a tadawi. So they said it's either a sunnah or it's a permissibility. Couple more questions. Why is the stream stuck? I'm here watching your comments and didn't get stuck at all. Anam Lodi says Gabor Mate is a Jewish author. Talks about how he was a Holocaust survivor and became a Zionist at one point. He then left Zionism after seeing the atrocities committed by them. Hey, Ahmad, you want to get him on the stream? Is Forex trading halal or haram? You got to remind me even what that is.
It'll be wrong. It's the trading of currency. Prophet selling, instructed us to do it hand to hand. And it's impossible to do that.
Trading currencies.
Yeah. So it's online currency and it's the lead at that. So.
Hot in the transaction.
There's a lot of unknowns, right?
A lot of because it's highly leveraged.
Yeah. Yeah. Was my questions answered? I left and I came back. Where is the question? Bring it back, inshallah. Oh, foreign exchange. That's what for. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Look up Gabor Mate. Who? Oh, Ad-Duhaima. I can't remember those off the top of my head. I have to look that up again.
You want to answer that question?
Which one? What does it say?
The question about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being the last. So,
Where does it say that?
see, Allah says,
Read me the whole question.
last, but when we go to Jannah,
Allah says he's the first and the last, but when we go to Jannah, go onto Instagram, Omar, and scroll up.
go down.
Oh, he said it here. First and last, but when we go to Jannah for eternity, how is he the last if he will also be there forever in Jannah? He is the al-awwal wal-akhir means al-awwal without beginning. He has no beginning. Al-akhir, he has no end intrinsically. We will have no end. We will live eternally by Allah's sustenance. By God's sustenance. That's a difference. We are living eternally in the afterlife. Everyone, heaven and hell, humans will live eternally in afterlife by Allah's sustenance. He is the last without end intrinsically, in himself, self-sustaining. That's the difference. Can we use Prophet Muhammad's dua that he made in Ta'if while we are going through distress? Yes, you may use that. You may use that. No doubt. Gabor Mate, a psychologist. Okay. By the way, people try to lose weight. Every one of these experts, they tell me weight is lost at the table, not in the gym. And I hate when they say that. Who's Miko Piled? Who is Miko Piled? Former Zionist, and his dad was in the IDF. Who is this person, Miko's Piled? Okay. Why did the rabbis change the Torah in such blasphemous ways? What did they gain out of it? I can tell you my theory. They were doing those sins, so they wanted to project it upon their prophets, so that when the people see them doing it, they say, well, the prophets did it. And that's exactly what Elijah Muhammad told Malcolm X. He said, Malcolm X says, oh, did you commit zina with 2 secretaries? He said, oh, Malcolm, don't you read the Bible? That's his evidence for committing zina. Don't you read the Bible? Even Noah slept with his, what is it? Noah slept with his own, what is it? Lot slept with his own daughters, right? Noah got drunk. Every prophet has a great sin. So I believe, and Allah Adam, but they were doing those things themselves, and to sort of justify it mentally for themselves, they projected backwards. Yep.
Can it also be said that the alterations became profitable?
Yeah, alterations in fatwa, alterations became something that the rich class benefited from.
I mean, Allah SWT does say, you know, they've sold their souls.
Yeah.
For a miserable price.
Yeah, they sold their souls for a short price. Yeah. Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to stop here. Jazakumullahu khairan, everybody. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Wal asr. Innal insana lafi khusr. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Kalbe şiir